or if I'm talking to my family, especially my mom. If I had her on the phone right now, it'd just be, you wouldn't know what I was saying. And it wouldn't be that I wasn't talking English, it would just be the accent. I just can't make it. I don't know, it's like people say something Jamaican, and I'm like, I can't, it just doesn't, like, I can't just say something, and because it's not like it's not another language, it's English. I would be talking to my mom just like I'm talking to you, it's just, the accent would come out. I can't manufacture it, it just has to be there.
You have a son?
Yes.
And he is how old?
7.
7. What do you tell him? About Jamaica? What do you tell him about being a black man in the United States? What do you tell him about, like what you just said, you work harder because of where you came from? What do you try to teach him?
Well, honestly, he's 7 now, and he's really just, I never wanted to push you're Jamaican on him.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that when the time came, he would ask me. And we're kind of like now we're at that point. Now he wants to know, well, what is the difference between me and my white friends?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And Daddy, why do you have that flag in your car? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's starting to understand now. Because before he really felt like we listened to the music and he thought they were speaking Spanish. Mm-hmm. But it's so funny because he'll talk to my mom with her accent and he understands her, but anybody else, they say anything to him, and he's like, huh? Yeah, it's like they're speaking another language. It's the same thing. He didn't get it before, but he's starting to get that now. And I mean, I'm really gonna teach him. I guess I'm gonna tell him anything he wants to know. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna push it on him. You know what I mean?
But you should be proud of it.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud to be Jamaican, and I feel like I'm unique, and that's my kind of my thing, you know. Mm-hmm. But he has to want it. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm gonna teach him about being a Jamaican and the things that we do and the way that we act. You know what I mean? Well, for one, we are very flamboyant. Mm-hmm. We're very flamboyant. If you know this, wear bright colored shoes, and my hat matches my shoes even when I'm coming to work, and so you can only imagine when I'm out the way I'm dressed. You know what I mean? We're really colorful. I'm not as loud as most of us.
You put that in your back pocket too?
No, I'm just shy. I'm really just shy, but we're pretty, I guess, rambunctious. I've yet to meet a Jamaican that doesn't like to dance, doesn't like to party. I remember that because my parents, they were young, and I remember, being at home, and my parents would throw a party at the house, and it would be scantily clad women, because we don't dress, we don't cover up much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different than what you see here for the most part, you know what I mean? It's almost like, I remember growing up, and as I was getting older, realizing things, and I would look at like the videos or something, and you'd see somebody, like a woman, she's dressed real provocative, and it's like she's dressed, and I would think to myself, she's dressing provocative to get attention. To me, a Jamaican woman dressed provocative because she just does, because that's what her mother did. It's not sexual, you know what I mean? And even growing up in our household, and I've seen it in other Jamaican households, we are not, nothing is really off limits for us, you know what I mean? So where other people take a shower at home as a child, and then you cover up and then you run to your room, no. It would be nothing to see my sister walking around in her underwear.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? People are like, oh, your sister's in her underwear, what are you doing? I'm like, that's my sister. It doesn't matter anyways, you know what I mean? Or my mom or my stepdad. Or that's
it's not provocative.
No, it's not. It's just who you are. Yeah. If you dress like that, you dress like that. It's not you trying to get attention or get someone to look at you. It's just who you are. You know what I mean?
What other differences between the culture and the way they live to the way we live? And where do you fall?
I'm honestly somewhere in the middle because I've been here so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of the things, and it's really funny. I don't know if you remember in Living Color, and they had the little skit with the Jamaican family. Like, I have 3 jobs. It's so true. It's so true. We work. We work, and that's. I mean, and I didn't even notice it. Like, my friends would make fun of me. Like, after we got out of high school, I didn't go straight into college, but so I worked, and I was working at Food Line, and I was also working at this Mexican restaurant. My friends were like, "You have 2 jobs, man," and I was like, "Oh, come on, that's cheesy." And I'm like, "Wait a minute." And then as I started looking, like even now, I look back and I'm like, honestly, me working here at CMC, this is the only time I've had 1 job. I usually have 2.
And you have 4 days off a week.
Exactly. Don't feel like it.
It's pretty like mine.
But it's one of those things, you know. We really do work that much, and we really do work that hard. We really do.
And that's why you're where you're at now versus where you could be.
Yeah.
Because when you think about where you could be, if your mom would not have worked hard and brought you here, it's scary.
It really is. It honestly, I mean, to know that right now there are kids in Jamaica that are basically living on the streets, and I mean, for lack of any better way to say it, robbing tourists. You know what I mean? And you grow up like that because you have nothing. You know what I mean?
Surviving.
You're surviving.
They're surviving. I mean,
exactly.
it's not that they're bad people. It's just
you gotta do what you gotta do. And that's another thing too that I have learned through my parents and talking with my stepfather. And you know, a lot of times, like, you see stuff on the news and people get vilified for what they do, but I remember my father saying this to me, because I have a cousin that got in some trouble with some drugs and stuff like that, and he was like, "Do you think that Jermaine wanted to be some big drug kingpin?" He's like, he felt like that was his only way of making money, and he did what he thought he had to do. It was the wrong thing. That wasn't his only option, but that's what he thought he had to do. Of course, look what your choices led you to. You know what I mean? He's not ever gonna come home, but you know, nah, kill somebody.
He's not coming home.
Yeah. But I mean, the choices that you make. But he was like, no one goes into these things saying that this is what I'm gonna do to be rich. You know, because it only leads you in 2 directions. But you know, I always say people hustle out of hopelessness.
True, but here you have options.
Yeah, and I know.
You don't.
No. You don't have many options. It's so funny too, because my mom, she grew up so poor, and my stepfather, his family is a little bit